Thank you very much. Thank you. Such a pleasure, such an honor to be here celebrating this beautiful material that we owe so much to. And at the same time, of course, we are also putting questions to ourselves, our future. We have heard already a lot about it today. What is our future? So I'm going to show you some of our recent projects and also older projects that talk a little bit about that. We are, most of us, living in cities. For most of us already, not even in the future, for most of us even now, it's all we know. And UN Studio also works in cities most of the time. Old cities, new cities, future cities. And what the city brings us all, of course, so much. We find our work, our education, health, social life, cultural needs, they are all fulfilled in cities. This project was already built some 10 years ago or so in Hangzhou, which is a very poetic old city on the West Lake in China that grew incredibly fast, as many cities have done. And it's the first project where we explore also connectedness in the tower typology. Yes, we are going to have more and more vertical cities, but we will still live on the floor, on the ground. We are earthbound people, so we equally need to think very much about these high levels, as well as how is it all brought down to the lower levels. So what are the healthy environments that we want to explore? We see a healthy environment as an ecosystem. And there are 3 pillars, let's say, that we go back to again and again to build this resilient approach to the future. But of course, it's not about theory, and it's not about having ideas, but it's then about what can we do together, how can we do things. So we have seen it already, what makes these materials that we work with so beautiful. It's not just about the exciting effects, these are real experiences that engage people. If you walk through, if you look around, you are invited in a way, you are addressed as a person. It's as if the building is saying to you, hi, I see you. Do you see yourself? Do you see each other? And so building like that can contribute to societies where people can be, maybe have a healing experience, body and soul, and enjoying each other, all being there. And it can happen at all scale levels and in all typologies. Here, this is a theater, a music theater we made many years ago in Austria, and there's this play going on for the public. This is just the foyer where you have your coffee in the interval of the concert, but it is a very glamorous experience. As you go down that staircase, it puts you as the visitor in the starring role. And of course, this was done long before Instagram. Now people think it is only a younger generation who enjoy that feeling and who want to feel alive and vibrant in space, but it is a very human need and a very human joy that has always been there. Here we have worked with steel, and again, it is at a very small scale level. Here, the local brick, it's a very Amsterdam project, but a very chic, it's our most chic shopping street. So this very everyday material is now literally embraced by steel casings, and it transforms the darkness of the facade, but also that very pedestrian quality of the brick into a jewel. And again, a temporary installation in Shanghai for Fashion Week. Installations, I mean, the professor has also made his life work of installations for UN Studio too. Installations have been such a fantastic way to test out design ideas and settings. It's a small installation, but it is an urban effect, and it's again about enhancing enjoyment of daily life on the pavement. At UN Studio, we by now have over 35 years of experience. We have a very global outlook. I'm very lucky to have been able to witness it all as the co-founder, together with Ben van Berkel. And while we don't have an office in Korea, yet, I should say, Korea was in fact the first Asian country to which we were invited. And this is now over 20 years ago. We have been continuously collaborating here since, and we are very, very proud of the results. And equally important, the working relationships have been very, very pleasant, very positive, very mutually respectful. We have shared knowledge, sharing our experiences, and equally learning a lot from the ways of working, the techniques, the ways of producing here. Throughout those 20 years, UN Studio has worked on a large range of projects, and it varies from master plan to interior design, villas and towers. So let us take you a little bit through these different scale levels. For us, this diversity is strength. We think it is important to be able to handle many different challenges, because this is the same issues occur actually on each scale level. It always comes down to human relations. So being have fluency at these different typology scale levels, ways of living, working, experiencing leisure is all built up to an all-round understanding of society. And what we offer is wide-ranging, and that also means we cultivate a very wide skill set and expertise. And this, of course, requires continuous investment of UN Studio in itself, both financially, but also in the effort of all the people who work with us together. This is also one of the things we are very proud of, that we have such a great team. So, urban, first of all, the urban scale level. And yeah, this is also very personal, it's very dear to my heart. I am not an architect. I hope I haven't disappointed anyone who was expecting this, but I am an urban planner by profession, and so the city is my particular interest. And yeah, our master planning activities and also level of expertise have come on enormously in the last few years, but this also began very early on. Through a kind of a strange fluke, we were tasked with making this new city bridge for the city of Rotterdam almost immediately starting our career, when we had no build experience yet. I don't think this would happen today, but it just somehow happened because the urban planner behind it, a very visionary woman, wanted a bridge that had to be iconic. But what is an icon? This is something we had to find out over periods of time. You cannot say, I decide to design an icon. This is something we learned. It just happens. But there are maybe some things that you can do. The most important thing was that urban vision. This bridge was meant to be a catalyst. This was connecting north and south Rotterdam. At that time, the south was very poor, was totally undeveloped, and the city wanted to change that, which has indeed happened. So we're very, very lucky that, of course, for a young architect to be then challenged to design this bridge from head to toe, so including also all the concrete work. This was, both a dream come true and also maybe a make or break situation. For us, it was also the start of our first ventures into why the computer. We do not see the computer as a design tool, but as a real bridge between design and making. So what we did was we had a very early version of CAD technology, which one person who is still working in UN Studio now had a sort of had to translate every single shape that came up in the computer into one of the basic geometric shapes. So although the bridge looks very complex in form, it is simple and buildable because everything can be reduced to simple elements. And that remains the trick of our architecture today. That is the real secret behind it. But design is one thing. Someone has to build it. So this was also made possible, this more complex bridge, because at that time the steel price was a little bit lower. Luck comes into it. Who we got involved was a builder who could work both onshore and offshore. So these are metal parts, steel parts of the bridge that are constructed in a shipyard. Then these two parts, a horizontal and a vertical part, were connected using the offshore technology. That builder happened to possess this huge crane, one of the 5 biggest cranes in the whole world. Then again, it was the genius of the city to turn this process into a public spectacle. And I believe firmly that that is when the icon was made. There was this magnificent crane. It is very closely related to the port identity of the city. Every single event relating to the placement of the bridge was turned into a public festival. So here the bridge is towed to the location, and there are, boats around it, fireworks, etc. The city wanted to keep all eyes on the river because, as I said, because of the ambition to develop that waterfront with all that fantastic high-rise that Rotterdam has now. So icons are made collectively, and it was a very deliberate process. We are very, very proud that we are part of that. It has been there now in place for 20 years as a connector, as a crossing point, a distinctive landmark, a public place, and a place that people identify with. I am a Rotterdammer. This is Rotterdam for me. And that is when you get an icon, but it's not something simply an architect can do. Next, we were again lucky enough to be charged with a project that was a as much architecture object as it was public space. So if a bridge can be a public place, then a station certainly can. And that was our next large project. Again, in the public sphere, and also, again, to design for change. There are many questions at the foundation of this station project. For instance, what is a station hall today when you buy your ticket online? What is that magnificent station hall for? And when it comes to urban transformation, who calls the shots? Is it the municipality as the one responsible for the needs of the citizens? Or is it the owners of the land? Or is it the railway institution as the operator? These were, in this case, all stakeholders in this project, and they did not have the same ambition or vision. So it was part of our job to provide visualizations, collect arguments, have meetings to bring these parties together. So this is the question of stakeholdership and how to bring stakeholders together also can be very much part of the architectural task, especially when it comes into making iconic places for a city where people can really identify with. So why did we do this? Why do we feel called upon to do that? Well, even so, it took us 20 years to finally have the whole thing built. But if we hadn't taken it on, it certainly wouldn't have happened. So how we saw the station, not that icon from the past, not that 19th century magnificent hall. No, it is a multimodal hub for everyone. Bus passengers, train passengers, people just walking around the location. The two big main topics are comfort and safety. So that's why we choose these very open, clear, transparent spaces. There are no messy corners, no little shops, things where, you know, crime can happen. And also wayfinding is very easy because of clear view lines. In public, in transport situations, people are always a bit stressed. There's natural stress levels. So our job is to try to make it easy for them to find their way naturally through the clear view lines. And it also is a social catalyst. It has transformed the area into a vibrant hub. It has fostered economic growth, engagement, and improved accessibility. Also, of course, urban transformation is expensive. Adding private developments, here in the case of these two towers, is an easy, common solution. So this, you have also then, besides creating a transportation hub, you are also engaging in densification. It's all in one gesture, and one thing benefits from the other. But that densification does not feel very cramped here. We still have that very open flowing feeling, because the stacking we get from the densification is on a sort of a landscape model where programs are folded in and under each other in a sort of a landscape solution. We, again, very heavily leaned on shipbuilding experience. There's a hybrid of construction techniques going on, but definitely shipbuilders have a big advantage when it comes to building some projects. In the end, we end up with, if you look at the main hall, you could say it's a city room. It has clear views to the city, so it's very easy again to find your way around, and it's a window to what is a very pleasant, not very large provincial town in the east of Europe, with, of course, this also dramatic element. There is an iconic element to it, but first of all, it's about what it does. Even an icon has to perform. It has to do something, and this is a structural element, wayfinding element, holds everything together in a sort of intriguing contrapposto sculptural moment. But it's not the only concept. So this station relies on maybe four, maybe a few more spatial concepts to achieve its own, its own characteristic. And here we see it is very different from most stations, certainly in the Netherlands. And that twist plays a large role in that sense of coherence. And at the moment, we are very lucky enough, again, to be engaged on the transformation of a railway station, this time in Madrid. And again, of course, that is an urban catalyst and really determining the character of the whole neighborhood. It is about linkage, about an ecosystem. A multimodal hub, once again, really dealing with multiple user groups, coming together, all with their different directions and focus. And our main focus was to retain and improve the existing station complex. Now, circular design, of course, is important, and we can often find much more potential in what is there than we realized maybe 10, 20 years ago. So if there is some potential, let's try to bring it in and to activate the surroundings with different programs and design a future-proof hub while also working with what we can find there. It's a large station. Madrid is a large city. It has 4 sides, each of which are very different in nature. And then there's that central void, which is kept open for the actual activity of travel. And it also frames that travel moment in a meaningful way. We also always thinking of the people and the feelings that different situations engender, and try to put ourselves in the place of the person standing on the platform, waving goodbye or welcoming someone. So the beautiful thing we found here was these historical vaulted roofs, and here we see the situation as it is now. They have such fantastic potential to bring to life and to open up that station to its context and to connect it to these different aspects of the surroundings and attracting new flows of people. And again, a densification exercise. There will be new towers there and a new public square. And these towers, one of them will contain the headquarters of the Spanish Railway Company. They have stepped terraces, so they sort of melt into that larger urban fabric. It's a spatial strategy, again, landscape-like layering, very UN studio, working with topographies, and that's in this naturally bind together visual and spatial access. The motto we use for it is open ecosystem. And that is what we keep as a sounding board in our mind the whole time. It's an ecosystem and it's an open ecosystem. So when you are in the station, on the platform, you again already, as in Arnhem, have view lines to different parts of the city. Easy, natural orientation and wayfinding. I'm going to continue with some other iconic infrastructural public projects, and these are a little bit more experimental, a little bit more maybe visionary and optimistic and vibrant and future-oriented. For instance, cable cars. They are something that we are working on a lot with. Cable cars are a fantastic way to traverse our dense and busy cities. They are very sustainable, not occupying a lot of ground level, and they can be they don't have to be seen as purely for tourists. They can be an everyday. More and more cities are putting them in place as an everyday form of transportation that, you know, creates a new kind of experience, lifting you up. So this is a project that we are proposing for Amsterdam, and this is to create a new connection across our main body of water, the IJ. There are 3 pylons. Well, they say they are designed in a very signature kind of way, and 2 stations. And the cable car is designed flexibly so that also in the future the route can be expanded to include a 3rd station. So when you think of I think people underestimate how efficient a transportation it is. In this little trajectory will take fewer than 5 minutes to complete. The speed reaches over 20 kilometers an hour, and each cabin can contain between 30 and 40 passengers. So when you go into it, you see it is a viable alternative. And also the stations can be, again, hubs. For pedestrians, cyclists, anyone who uses also other forms of public transport can join up with it, the metro, buses, etc. And also they can become a little bit of a destination in themselves. So here we can see what a nice addition to the city it could be, again, emphasizing the way to the north. Just as in Rotterdam we created a path to the south, here it is meant to be a path to the north, also to get some tourists out of our city center, because they are far overburdening it. As we see now in many European cities, Barcelona, and many European cities are actually, the citizens are complaining about the amount of tourists. Another project that we were working on some years ago, and we were invited to bring our thoughts to the Hyperloop. Again, such a fascinating project. I mean, I cannot imagine it, because we would be shot by 1,000 kilometers per hour in a tube, same speed as an airplane, but then it takes you right into the heart of the city. And that is where we could think about this. How would a station then connect to other forms of transport? What could it bring to a city if you had a Hyperloop? And yeah, this is the whole network that it is going to eventually, if and when it happens, is going to add to it. It's yeah, going to see all over Europe. And this is our then sketch-like vision for the future of a European Hyperloop station, a study of how it can insert itself into the fabric of the city and the kind of yeah, optimistic and vibrant experience it can deliver of a nice future. And then again, we are so happy with Seoul and the opportunities it has always offered to us. This is a project now, currently ongoing in a part of the studio. Yeah, a spokeless wheel. So to be always inventive, always trying to think of a new way of dealing with something is one of the ambitions of Human Studio. This is, yeah, 180 meters high, and it should be built on the edge of the Han River next to the World Cup Stadium. First ever of its kind, as a spokeless Ferris wheel with not one but two rings, and they intersect, and then each ring carries pods that seamlessly revolve inside and outside on a double track. So here's how we see it, and it can be part of a whole new. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking far too fast, but it's good. It's good. We don't have the whole day, but very nice to think about future plans and future, yeah, meaningful places to this city. But I next wanted to go to also something that we see is very much happening in cities. We don't think of buildings anymore, but for instance, office buildings, but we think of campuses. So we recently delivered this project in Amsterdam on the Eilands, and it is, yeah, it is very much, it is actually an office, but it doesn't want to be just an office. It wants to be a campus for the people who work there. So the social life of the building is really the most important part of it. It's a tech company, so the whole workforce is young, active, very highly skilled, people who move around the world easily. They're self-aware. They want to live healthily in a good work-life balance. They don't want to burn out. And if you want to keep them, that's what you need to provide for them. So you can focus on your work, on your screen, but as in these public hubs, there are long sidelines, both inside and outside. Plenty of open walkways to take a stroll. Then you can have an informal meeting, and that might be your breakthrough moment in your work. So this is also a healthy indoor climate. Both physical, the indoor air quality is sometimes much worse than we are aware, but also psychologically. This project was mostly under construction during the pandemic, and the client, of course, was a little bit worried what would happen because people work from home, and they do work from home, but the client is happy with that. As long as they come to the office for a yoga lesson, for a free lunch, and see each other, they still can bind the talent to them, and so they are quite happy with these new work conditions. So at the building level, we of course are so proud also of one of our most iconic project, which we is also again now 20 years already in operation, but it is still luckily very attractive, and it also again shows the complexity of how an icon is thought of, designed and realized, and then what it all means. This is a very strange structure. It is a trefoil that switches level the whole time, and what that does is it's like we sometimes said, it's like a cross between the Guggenheim Museum and the Centre Beaubourg in Paris, because you do have flat levels, you go up a lot, you move around a lot the perimeter, as in the Centre Beaubourg, but you also go round, and you go down. And again, the technology behind it makes or breaks a building like that. This again pushing the limits of what you can do with computer-aided design to make something complex ultimately simple. And the reason is to engage people with the story of the history of that iconic car, and which is the history of driving in a way, taking people from the top to the bottom, telling the story of Mercedes-Benz in a way that people can choose how to read and learn and hear that story. There's not just one path, you choose your own path to experience it and to go through that. So, yeah, again, the technology behind it, because, yeah, that technology is what we bring to the builders. We have to make it buildable for them in a way that it is, yeah, possible and also pleasant to do. So we are always at the forefront of what technology can bring us, and we were then, and we are now, and I think that is why also something like that holds up. Plus, as with the Erasmus Bridge, it's not straightforward. It's something a little bit strange maybe as well about it. Again, the view lines are so important here. They give you agency as the person going through it. You know, you can see where you are going to, what you will experience next. It's like a book in your hands, rather than some trajectory which you cannot fathom. I'm going to go on. And going now to the to the last scale level of the details, and a project that is in Amsterdam, same as the other project, a shopping street between in the museum quarter, and with a shop that has this creative heritage and elegance that we celebrate, to also allude to the textile of fashion, both in form and function. We see these curved glass panels that flowing down. They are very large glass panels, so of course it is always going to be a challenge. And then I'm now going to say it for the first time: stainless steel. There are stainless steel profiles in between. So, and then we also did the neighboring store, which I already showed the detail of, with these stainless steel bricks and glass inlays as well, that are a play on both the tradition but also elevating it, bringing it to this higher level. And then, so there's glass, there's the brick, and then there's opaque glass when it gets to the apartment area. And now, of course, I want to conclude with some of the projects that we were lucky enough to work with you here, and especially focusing on what we learned. For instance, here with the Hanwha headquarters, we learned that transformation can happen without too much disruption for people in the office. That is something that we would not have been able to learn from a European context. It's a really unique skill and ability you have. So, you know, this was an outdated facade, a building outdated, the performance was now insufficient, and so that, of course, makes operational costs more high, and we designed this much more performative and responsive facade that reacts on the surroundings and integrates. With the remodeling in place, the total construction lasted circa 42 months. Social well-being was fundamental for it, and is fundamental for enhanced creativity and concentration. And that is driven by several factors, most significantly the improvement of the indoor environment. Comfort, simply enhancing comfort levels. And that's a holistic approach. We have to consider the public spaces, we have to consider indoor climate, energy conservation, construction management, and the overall building life cycle. So talking very pragmatically, the BRPV integrated facade modules, they not only reflect the Hanwha corporate identity of, you know, a company, one of the world's leading solar manufacturers, but there's also enough energy produced to power all the building lighting systems for the entire year. We believe the shift towards designing and retrofitting existing buildings and transforming them into high-performing, sustainable structures will greatly extend the lifespan of our current buildings. In 2017, UN Studio was invited by YG Entertainment, the lead producers of K-pop, to design their brand new headquarter building in Seoul. The new HQ is situated on a site that borders two very different worlds. you will know it far better than I do, although luckily I have been able to see it. Because, yeah, you know, there's this very low densing housing areas to one side, and then a very dense network of highways and bridges to the other. And it also overlooks a large green park. And the client is, of course, very visionary. They had very strong ideas and encouraged us to see the exterior shell almost like a product. Perforated steel panels have lighting behind them, so the entire building can change appearance from day to night. And zooming in on these perforated steel panels, they all have integrated openings for the technical installations behind the facade. It continues, this whole language continues into the interior atrium. All these steel panels are there on the walls, on the ceiling. And the main feature of the interior atrium is these exposed capsule-like meeting rooms that can serve either as working zones or resting zones. And these capsules further enhance visual interaction throughout the atrium and towards the office floor. It's a very particular language, very idiosyncratic to this client and this typology and this particular situation. Then there's, this new project, of course, in the heart of Seoul. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, sorry. Jumsegi? Sorry. And this, we hope that we will, what we offer is our vision of a new landmark right next to the City Hall. The massing strategy organizes the different public, office and exhibition program components into independent volumes by creating various terraces and gardens that form an extension of Seoul Plaza. The upper floor programs and roof garden also provide an extension of the public space for the community while offering panoramic views of the Doksugung Palace, Seoul City Hall and a nearby plaza. There's a three-dimensional dynamic curtain wall system that's really characteristic of this tower and that sort of wraps itself around the building in an almost gentle way from the ground level right to the crown. And the ground floor is transparent, is an extension of the plaza that anchors the building at this corner, but it's also something that we see very much as part of our tower typology. What is happening at the ground level? We have our feet on the ground. We are on the ground level with the building. We are part of the city. Giving back to the city is one of the things we can do. When we go vertical, what do we give back? We give back more public life to the ground level. I will try to wrap it up quickly as we are, maybe it would be nice to have some time left for questions. Just maybe this as a last project. Also, again, a small experimental building in Germany about tiny house trend in an apartment block. So this is about housing and living, and it's become very expensive to live in our big cities. This is in Munich. It's a very expensive city. People can hardly afford to buy an apartment anymore. So can we make apartments that are smaller but still comfortable? So we are yeah, first of all, it's about then the public life. It's a vibrant place. It's open. It's inviting. It's very nice for residents. You get your outdoor space. You get a lovely balcony that adds to your volume. But living in a very small space, we are also going back again to an older thought of a modular, adaptable furniture plug-in based system. So you can change your space in a variety of ways. And that's what we can see here. We can see this, let me see, this, yeah. So we can see this, you can see it moving, you can see your easily adaptable spaces to make it possible to live on a floor surface of less than 40 square meters in not just a comfortable way, but in effect, in this case, in a luxurious way. And this project has been built and is very successful, luckily. So I don't know if every single market is ripe for that, but as it turned out, in this case, it was. I said it was the last project, but maybe I should share this with you as our last project. It's our vision for the Songdo Garden City. It's again also an urban prototype where communities, nature and design come together to improve the well-being and community feeling of the residents. The main design drivers for the urban layout include ensuring view corridors towards the waterfront, which is, of course, it's such a strong feature. And then the tower position shifts so they can bring the park actively into the residential complex. So the introduction of tall towers with a small number of units per floor maximizes the open public space and the view corridors. It is again entering the question that's so also close to your heart: vertical living, vertical neighborhoods, but also healthy living. How do we do it? We need to offer spaces for activity, for exercise, for relaxation, for residents, and for the entire community. I think I feel I'm going to look at my colleagues. One more project, Mark? One more project, okay, okay. It's been such a long day, I feel that, okay. This is also Seoul. Also, again, the Han River, Auterre, and again, it looks into those similar strategies, asking what is the future of the vertical neighborhood? How can we create connections for people? So we look the same way as the German project. Sometimes we have to look, of course, at the outside, at the urban effect, at the skyline, but here we also design from inside out. And the units are all designed as flexible and scalable systems to accommodate all types of families and individuals. People are less and less conforming to traditional family patterns. We have multi-generational families who want to live together, but we also have, you know, more and more single people or friends wanting to share. And so these are all questions that are so interesting to us and that we want to really grasp and work together with different people on. So we have different unit sizes and they are then combined within the same tower system. So it is a really nice hobby for people who like to puzzle, creating all these variety of unit types that are flexible, adaptable, yet can fit together. And within the master plan, there are many community and amenity spaces integrated, including health, wellness, hospitality, and other functions. And these communal spaces are not only located on the ground, but also trying for the vertical communities, the sky gardens, higher in the towers. If we need to move up, let's really try to also move up collectively and not have people isolated in their towers. How we use public space and communities, that can be redefined as something which comes back in many of our work, either on the ground level, connecting to the public landscape, but also to the city as at large. So, you know, to wrap this up, I feel that this is something we still have a lot of more exploration to do on together. There is always a lot happening, and one of the challenges, of course, is not to create the flexibility only for now, but into the long-term future if we truly want to engage with sustainable transformation. Thank you very much.